is trying right now to strangle Melilla.
El cierre de la frontera ha sido, digamos, todo un caos, ¿no?
No esperando a que Marruecos nos abra una frontera. No, que la abra o no la abra, da exactamente lo mismo.
Along the North African coast, 200 kilometers from Spain, lies the Spanish city of Melilla. It's one of the only physical borders between the EU and Africa, and to reach this city you have to take either a plane or a ferry from Spain. Once part of a larger presence in North Africa, it remained Spanish after the independence of Morocco. The neighboring country of Morocco, however, claims the city as rightfully theirs. This has created tension between the two countries in the past 50 years. The city is surrounded by a fence. Because Melilla is part of Spain and the European Union, a lot of migrants out of Africa try to cross from Morocco into the city to get to Europe. The European Union started building a border fence, guarded by the Spanish at one side and by the Moroccan army on the other side. Morocco receives millions of euros to guard this European border. To take a closer look at this border fence separating Spain from Morocco and the EU from Africa, we met up with a local journalist called Laura.
You see the barbed wire in Morocco there, and you can see how close it is. Actually, in this whole area, Mariwari and Farhana, when they put the fence, they had to cut houses. I remember when I was in Berlin, I went to the Wall Museum.
Yeah.
For me, it was devastating just seeing, because there's a whole exposition of on how the people used to cross. It was like, okay, I've been working about that like for years now, and it's all the same. I mean, and I cannot understand why people are so moved when they see this in the 60s or 70s or 80s or whatever, but they cannot see that this is actually happening the same way right under their noses, you know, in Melilla or Morocco or Libya or whatever.
When we got out of the car to take a closer look at the fence, we got surrounded by border police. They held us up for about 15 minutes, and after checking our papers and credentials, we were free to go. This would happen a couple of times, even though we had applied for a filming permit, but it really showed us how tense the situation was at the border. Okay, so Morocco receives money to guard the European border. But throughout the years, thousands of Moroccan people from neighboring towns could walk in and out of Melilla every day to buy goods and take them back to Morocco to sell them there. It generated millions of dollars in revenue in the region, and it caused an economic boom in Melilla. Morocco, however, wanting to weaken the city to enforce its territorial claims, decided to close the border in the last couple of years. They aimed to isolate the city from Spain and from trade with the Moroccan towns. Since then, it has been reported almost 100,000 people on both sides of the border have no source of income. To get an idea of the impact of the border closure, we met up with the leader of the local Muslims in Melilla, Abdeslam Mimoun.
Cada valla prácticamente, como aquel que dice, separaron familias. La frontera terrestre con Marruecos está totalmente cerrada, no se puede meter ni una caja de cerillas, porque no es COVID, es política. Es porque Marruecos lleva desde el año 2017 intentando restringir el flujo que había de personas hacia Melilla porque económicamente la afectaba, claro. Pasaban de aquí mercancía que esa mercancía no tributaba. El tema del COVID le ha venido como el dedo, o sea, al anillo al dedo. Ha venido perfectamente para pegar el cierre y adelantar todo, digamos, lo que quería hacer a lo mejor en 10 años. El cierre de la frontera ha sido, digamos, todo un caos, ¿no? Nosotros ya lo que pedimos es que la frontera se abra. Nosotros prácticamente ahora nos sentimos como en una isla. Creemos que el gobierno español al día de hoy no ha hecho nada por nosotros, por lo que insistimos que haga algo por nosotros, que somos españoles, como el que puede estar en Málaga o en Barcelona.
Not everyone is regretting the border closure. The extreme right party in Spain, called Vox, has been wanting to close the border with Morocco for a long time now. We went to talk with Jesus Delgado, the former leader of the local branch of the extreme right party.
A lo largo de la historia hemos estado viendo que las reivindicaciones de Marruecos, de Ceuta y Melilla, siempre ha sido como una especie de sombra, de humo, algo para intentar parar o tapar o cerrar sus propios problemas. Esto es un punto de inflexión clarísimo. Tenemos que reinventar Melilla. Melilla está viviendo de Marruecos un montón de años y eso es un atraso, así nos va. Y de hecho, esto es lo que lo demuestra, ¿no? El momento de que ese revulsivo sirva para que se incentive a los nuevos sistemas económicos, Melilla va a resurgir, no esperando a que en Marruecos nos abra una frontera, no, que la abra o no la abra, da exactamente lo mismo.
All of a sudden, Morocco decided to open the gates to Europe. Because Spain had treated a separatist rebel leader from the Moroccan-occupied Western Sahara for COVID, Morocco decided to let immigrants cross the border into the Spanish cities of Melilla and Ceuta. In response, the Spanish army crossed the Mediterranean from mainland Spain to stop these migrants from coming in. Out of our hotel room, we could see tanks rolling in through the streets of Melilla. The border patrol and the army set up roadblocks along the border, but too little too late. About 1,000, mostly Moroccan migrants, succeeded in crossing into Melilla. To understand why these Moroccans tried to cross into Melilla, we went to talk with Zakaria. Born in Melilla, he had moved back to Morocco with his parents.
وعندي في الباسبور ديالي باسبورت ني امليليا من بعد فاش رجعت انا لمليليا وبغيت نطلب بالحق ديالي في الاوراق ما بغاوش يعطيوه لي حيت علاش كنت دزت 18 سنه. الحظ صعيب صراحه صعيب تخدم في المغرب تلقى خدمه. انا واحد النقطه في 2019 شهر 3 نهار 14 هذيك هي الوقيته فاش تسدت الحدود وتقلبات هنايا. انا بعدا كنت خدام الحدود كنخرج السلعه نوصلها لمراكش نرجع. اش غادي نقول لك بديت كنخدم كلشي اللي لقيت نخدم الصباغه نخدم نبيع اللوز نخدم ريبارتيدور نوصل الماكله للديور. La problema es que no tengo papeles, no tengo un contrato de trabajo, no tengo nada. هاد المشكل ديال السدان ديال الحدود المغربية مع إسبانيا، الحدود في مليليا، أثر عليا وعلى بزاف شوع الدراري وبزاف ديال الناس، عيالات ودراري وولاد ورجال وكلش اللي كانوا تا هما عايشين من هنايا، على بزاف الناس اللي ما عندهمش اوراق، اللي ما عندهمش سيغوريداد سوسيال، اللي ما عندهمش دي ترافاي، صعيب الحال. وهذا الشيء راه كيعانيو منه بزاف، ماشي غير انا، بزاف ديال المغاربه اللي حاصلين هنايا كيعانيو نفس المشكل. ici c'est vraiment dur d'habiter والله العظيم. وي
Zakaria is not the only Moroccan trying to make his way into Europe. In the streets of Melilla, you can see young Moroccan migrants washing cars and begging for money. With the border closure and the end of the trade between Melilla and the villages, they see no future in Morocco and use extreme ways trying to reach Europe. In the next episode, we will talk with some of these kids who are looking for a better future at all costs.